I wanted to say softness. Josephine needs a nap and a snack. Hey guys, it's Josephine from the Pointe shop. We're doing a Pointe shoe review for one of the most requested video in the past 3 years. So DANÇA, which is one of my favorite companies, they came out with a new Pointe shoe and I was really excited about it. So when I first previewed it in 2019, I thought the idea behind the Pointe shoe was brilliant. It has interchangeable shanks. It has all of these wonderful features about the Pointe shoe that really addresses a lot of the problems in the Pointe shoe market. However, when I saw it in 2019, I didn't love the shoe itself. Great idea, not a great shoe. The cool thing about the Elektra that they continue to keep was that you're able to take the shank, which looks like this, and you can stick it inside the shoe like this. So you can have different shank strengths, and depending on what variation the dancer is doing or what they're doing in class, I give them different shank strengths in different Pointe shoes. With the Elektra, you could just change the shank. So I thought that was so brilliant, whether you're doing rehearsals or auditions or whatever. So you can have a different shank strength for all of those. But I didn't like the shoe itself. And regardless of if the dancer had a shank inside the Pointe shoe or not, it was pulling the dancer back because the box shape didn't adhere to the dancer's foot. Your foot grades up. So the thickness of your foot gradually gets higher and higher as your foot goes up to your ankle. But if your Pointe shoe is straight, if it has a really long vamp, and if it kind of pushes you back off of your shoe, regardless of how hard or soft your shoe is, it's going to pull you back. The box shape was what I had the biggest problem with. It didn't really mold to the shape of the dancer's foot. It was pulling the dancer back. So this is one of the first versions of the So Dança Elektra. So as you can see, it didn't have a drawstring. It had like this wrinkly drawstring casing that was supposed to adhere to your foot and make it look really streamlined, but actually made it look kind of sloppy. I previewed it and I honestly really wanted to like the shoe, but I just didn't. 3 years later, they've had many different versions, and this is the final product of their latest shoe. They use the same technology that they used that I loved, the ideas that I thought were so brilliant, and they made a new Pointe shoe out of it. The main difference that I thought they needed to change was, again, the box shape. So now you can see that the shoe is a much more reasonable shape. This grades up. So it slopes slightly up so it finishes with the foot rather than cutting the dancer off in the middle of the foot and pulling them back. So a lot of dancers are able to get over the box much easier. The platform of the original shoe was very straight. I have no problem with the straight platform. However, because the box was pulling them off, they were only balancing at the bottom of the platform. The newer model has a platform that tilts ever so slightly towards the top of the platform, so the dancer is able to push over a lot easier. They added the drawstring. They also changed the casing, as you can see. It's not as wrinkly as this one. Another thing that I see that is different is the shank. You can see that the original version is completely flat. And that's okay. Freeds have very flat shanks as well. Most Pointe shoes are now slightly curved or slightly pre-arched because it follows the curve of a dancer's foot. So it helps the dancer make the shoe last a little bit longer, and it also helps them get over the box. So a straight shank only makes sense for a shoe like a Freed that is meant to be molded. This shoe isn't really made to be molded because it is actually made out of kind of a polymer plastic material. This is what's in the inside of the shoe. This is the skeleton of the Pointe shoe. It's not really made to be broken. So very much like the Gainer Minden, this shoe is going to last a lot longer than a traditional shoe. When you get a Pointe shoe that is made out of synthetic material that doesn't bend, you have to be very careful not to get a shoe that's too hard because the shoe's not going to gradually break down. It's going to spring you up on point like a hard shoe, and because it'll never break down, you'll never have that progressive education with your foot muscles. With the So Dança, you actually have a choice of dancing at the bar without the shank at all. I would say that it's one step above a Demi pointe shoe. A Demi pointe shoe is very, very soft, and I don't think that you should ever really go on center with the Demi pointe shoe. But this shoe, even without the shank, it has a pretty good structure of the box. So I actually have been fitting a lot of dancers that I want them to work through their feet with a softer shoe in the Elektra and not giving them a shank at all. So I'll say at the bar, even if you're on point, I want you to wear the shoe without the shank, and then add the shank later on if you need to have a little bit more support. These are the different colors, and they color coordinated it according to how hard or how soft it is. The pink is going to be the softest, the next harder is going to be green, the next harder is going to be blue, and the hardest is going to be gray. So you can have a very soft shoe, you can have almost a Demi pointe shoe, and you can have a very, very hard shank. I typically stick with these two shanks because I want it to be as soft as possible, because I want you to use your muscles to get over on point instead of the shoe's strength to get over on point. I loved that So Dança listened to the feedback and created something that is beautiful. You can see that it looks like a completely different shoe. I'm really happy to do this review now after 3 years because they finally came out with a shoe that I really liked. A lot of the dancers have been asking us for this review for a really long time since it came out, and I didn't really want to talk about it until I really loved the shoe. This review isn't sponsored. I just wanted to talk about it because I don't want you to be discouraged of trying this shoe if you had tried it in the past 3 years, because it's completely different. And I feel you, but it is totally different. We do a lot of these reviews for you guys just so you have a better understanding of these pointe shoes, but I typically stay away from the shoes that I don't really love just because I don't want you to be discouraged to try anything, because everyone is so different that even if there is a shoe that I don't like, it might work out for you. There's not a lot of companies in the pointe shoe world, and I really love So Dança, and whenever there is a new shoe that comes out that's innovative and cool, we are just so excited to try it. And sometimes if it's innovative and different, it takes a long time to get it right. If you have any questions or if you want me to do any reviews on other pointe shoes, then please let us know in the comments what shoes you want me to review.